Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our workshop today, A Day in the Life of Construction. I am your host, Amy Keenan, founder of the ISV Society. Very excited for this workshop today and for everyone that is presenting, helping you walk, showing you how to walk. We walk through the day in the life of Jenga Construction, who is a general contractor navigating these challenges from bid to bottom line. And we are going to show you how you can streamline all your operations and eliminate manual work as we navigate every stage of the construction life cycle. Welcome to our webinar. As you know, this is being recorded, and I will be sending out the recording to everyone that registers and or attends today, so don't worry about that. It will give me just a few days to do that. I do like to break them up into their individual presentations and create a playlist on YouTube so that way you can go out there and watch either the ones you've missed or you can share individual ones with your team and review any specific ones you'd like to. It's very easier that way than navigating the entire workshop itself. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'd like to keep that going and active. So put your questions in the chat. We will have our presenters answer them in there. If they aren't able to answer them, or we just don't run out of time or whatever it is, at least we have a log of it. And then I will share that with those that presented today so they can reach out to you with those answers to your questions. So yeah, use the chat as our communication tool to share where you are today, where you're tuning in from, and ask your questions and get excited about what we're doing. So here is our lineup for today. Here you can meet our wonderful presenters. We have Joel Hoffman from Acumatica here. He's going to kick it off. Then we have Brian from Job Planner, Sarah from Miter, Jared from Use, and Craig from Solver. And then this is how we will walk you through the day in the life of construction. We'll start off with Joel kicking off some trends, showing you some Acumatica tips and tricks. And then we will start our construction journey where you will go through job planners, pre-construction and bidding, payroll and expense with MITRE, accounts payable with Use, and real-time reporting and forecasting to wrap it all up with Solver. So this will walk you through the end-to-end journey powered by Acumatica. And with that, I'm now going to hand the reins over to Joel, who is going to kick it off. Ready? Are you ready, Joel?
I am ready, and thank you, Amy, and welcome everybody. Um, so today we're going to walk through Jenga construction and nearly a day in the life. I thought I'd start things out by just talking a little bit about what we see in the industry as challenges and what we find in the construction environment, talking with customers and people throughout the industry. Give you a little view of Acumatica's end-to-end construction life cycle and how we look at things from an Acumatica perspective and using great partners and ISVs like you'll see later on, like how you can broaden and take that whole ecosystem and look at all the different components of construction. And then I thought I'd dive in, show a little bit of Acumatica product itself as we go. So we'll get started. So from a view of the construction environment and what I find by going to different conferences, talking with customers and partners, construction today involves many different components, and what are we looking at and what are some of the challenges that customers and construction companies in general are experiencing? You have the supply chain disruptions that has subsided a little bit since the pandemic, but back at that pandemic side, being able to look at things and forecast out where all your products coming from. Do you need to have it on hand and things? Those are things that people are continuing as they go through, but now the life cycle or the time frame that they get product is getting a little better. Tariffs still go back and forth, so the things that we're looking at and how solutions can verify and help folks with the any kind of price increases or challenges that are coming through. A continual trend is labor shortages and just the availability of skilled labor in construction. As one of the things that the pandemic brought about was really the great resignation or resignation of those experienced workers. Think of the craftsmen and the concrete workers, the bricklayers and the folks that had years of experience inside of the construction industry. So with that, companies have put a lot into training and bringing new folks into their organizations. And you'll see some of that, what do you need to do from a payroll or a personnel and human capital perspective. But that continues to be something that companies are working with, how they can get into keeping those people on board because it's expensive to train someone. You don't want them to get up to speed and then walk down the street to your competition. So the labor and just maintaining that skilled labor force, because as construction, you can't build a project from inside your house. You come through and you have the labor, and we are seeing things with some 3D printing and the like. If you've looked at things with the houses that are being poured by the 3D printers and concrete and different components, but that's had companies also shift their technology. What can they do to supplement some losses in the labor force? What are they bringing in from whether it's robotics or just more technological capabilities that empower their employees to get the projects done quicker or with less labor that's going through? And then as you're coming in, again, costs and then just the different trends within the areas of construction itself. So from an Acumatica perspective, what do we do about that? Well, we're looking at bringing it in and really having a complete life cycle. If you think of construction and the projects on board, from the time that things are bid and planned and estimated, now you have the estimate's awarded, now you have all the costs, brings that into the budgeting, and then you start to execute on that. You need to manage field personnel, documents, and profitability and all those components
Joel, are you
of the
sharing your
construction
screen?
project. Then you have the operations and really the closeout. Well, now we're starting to wind down, but then we have companies that offer field service. So you come in, now the project's done, but maybe there's warranty work or it's installed air handler units or things that are all part of the construction life cycle. And how can we get all those together within the Acumatica ecosystem? And by partners like what you'll see today is really enabling companies to come to Acumatica, have a complete solution, work on that whole life cycle. So what can you do to really integrate and make sure things are all working together and now present that as a complete picture and what you need to do within construction? Because if you think of that life cycle, well, now we're getting down into what are those different components, the times that you're planning it. So you need to have CRM capabilities and things that go around project quotes and then estimates. Now you got to order the material. So think back to the supplies and how do you procure material or services if you're subcontracting work out. Being able to go through and plan and forecast. And something I was recently at the CFMA annual conference and being able to project out your cash flow or your costs and then your revenue. It's very important to companies so they can see, can they take on new projects? Do they have the funds necessary to be able to handle the work they're doing, be able to purchase the materials, to sub out work? Things are all coming together. So it's still a crucial part of any of the construction environment and what needs to happen. And then you start to build the projects. You got your change orders and any kind of field information. I think you'll see some different examples coming in today of how that comes together. And then you have, like I mentioned, the field service. Maybe there's a component that's going through, and now you have that service work. But if you see on the bottom right, there's the extended module, something that makes Acumatica unique inside of the construction industry is that our platform is not just construction. We're very well suited. We have a great construction capabilities. But if you think of other areas of Acumatica, well, we have manufacturing components, we have distribution components, we have retail and sales components that are coming in. And what we've seen is a shift where now we have some more of those hybrid companies, I would call them, whether it's a manufacturing, maybe you're doing windows and doors or some precast concrete. So you manufacture it and then you go install it and you have that construction need, but you also have that tie into manufacturing. Again, from an Acumatica perspective, all the same platform, you're just using different modules or components. How do you set that together? So companies are looking to Acumatica to present that complete solution and all the different divisions or components of their business, even from a distribution, and you think of the inventory and warehouse management and things that are native and built inside of Acumatica, that whether you're a construction company or you're coming in and maybe have the parts and things that go together. So Acumatica as a platform really brings in all those different components of construction businesses. And specifically within the construction edition, as we look at things, well, it's purpose built for construction. So you have your construction financials, AIA reports, certified payroll coming through. What are those things that are specific to job cost accounting and what construction companies anticipate being able to look at how's their project performing? What's the cost versus the budget? And those different areas of the construction environment, and then the project management components and things you'll see a little later on from some of the other presenters today. What are those different integrations? What can help and extend your business? And really, as we're looking at everything in general, as a group, we're looking to see, well, how can we really bring the technology and what kind of metrics come together? Because if you think of your organization, you're coming in and now you have different KPIs. CFMA has benchmarkers that say, how do you compare against your peers? You're coming in and you have specific numbers that you're looking at. Well, all that has to be done from a metric, and how you can start to improve that is data collection and the different areas that bring the information together into a central source. And now, as you're looking at it, AI is a term that's coming through. So again, from an AI first perspective, Acumatica looking at different components of what we can leverage and come in. Because things, and you'll see it from some of the groups today too, is how they're using technology to help you with your day to day. But as you think of those areas, now being able to be proactive, or if you think of any kind of anomaly detection or things that might be coming through, getting that right outside of the inside of your software to be able to provide the different details. So technology and the metric improvements and the data collection and all components of Acumatica and what we see as important within the construction industry. So let me switch over and we'll go to a demonstration. And what I'm doing here is I'm simply logging in. I'm inside of Acumatica, part of Jenga construction here on the components. And now what I have coming up is just a simple dashboard view that's going in and identifying what do I need to see around the different projects and that project information. Because if you think of the data, again, this is a simple view, role-based coming in. I have my opening as a project overview, so I can start to see what do I need to do and what areas might be focused on. But again, from Acumatica perspective, simple workspaces down there on your left-hand side, or your different modules are coming in. Is it the construction, your payables, your receivables, all your different components? But it's very simple to now start to build dashboard information, coming in and identifying, well, what do I want to see? Now I want to drill into those components. So we have customers using different layers of the overall dashboards to be able to take the information inside of Acumatica and now to start to produce little tiles. Maybe it's a red and a green and a yellow. People are always color centric and focused on what's coming through to draw their attention to those areas. So a red tile, if something's going off, and let me drill into the start to see the details. Again, different things coming from Acumatica. How do we start to do notifications, give you alerts if something's starting to trend towards a lower profitability? And there's different components that are coming in. As from a construction perspective, and as we look at things, very many different components, but you'll notice I have the ability to go in and create favorites and what do I want to do within those different areas of the application, so I can tailor the experience to myself as the user, whether it's the dashboard views that I see and I have a view that I want to look at, what's important, my menus, what do I want to start to do? But you notice different construction focused, work in progress reports, change orders, and the like that are all going into the application. What customers have also said is, I come in and I want to have a central location to go in and start to look at things. So let's take a look at the project hub here for the Hasbro headquarters. I'm inside of Acumatica, and in this one view, I can come in and start to see all the different activities and the things that are going on related to that particular project. And very simple, it's going through, hey, I got project information, different details, and then you'll notice the different sections or the tabs that are going through, they just start to direct you into different areas. Well, what are the actual cost codes or the divisions and the things that I'm keeping track of? right? Because if you think of overall job cost accounting and construction financials, well, what's important? I need to track my budgets for my cost. I need to make sure I'm billing for what I'm paying, and then have my contracts for my revenue. So I won't go through all the tiles, but very simple. Here's my revenue budget. What do I anticipate the billing number is going to be within the different portions of that particular project? Again, you have control over what columns are there, groups things together, and maybe I want to bring this balances tab and I want to put that over to the left. You saw how simple it was. I just did a drag and drop. It's giving me a quick little P&L. I have a P&L in the upper right. Now I have a nice little balance and project P&L available to me right inside the project hub. Because as we're looking at it, well, certainly I want to drive and start to track things off of my cost. And job costing, cost codes, however you start to define it. What am I using for my divisions and my activities that are going through? Well, how do I start to perform against the budget? If you think back to those dashboards, being able to now see, well, here's what I anticipated I'm going to spend. How much have I spent? How much is committed? So as we're looking at any kind of subcontract or purchase order activities, being able to now come in and just view right in that one area. You notice I'm never leaving the project hub. I have a complete view of what things are going on within this particular project. And now what kind of things do I want to see? Well, for me, in my experience, I might be doing procurement. I want to see what kind of open purchase orders and such are there. Or if I'm part of the AR, I want to see what kind of billing is coming through. Complete billing functionality from Acumatica, whether you're going through and producing an AIA-like document. You see from a pencil copy, if I look at that same pro forma, now as I'm coming in, some of the things that you'll find within Acumatica and what we've done over the last couple of releases is now being able to tag, you can see on the right, linked cost transactions and T&M views. Now you're coming in and you're building your progress billing, your schedule of values, and now what you're going to generate as your pay application. But then you also have the ability to tag that to particular cost items. Well, what does that lead to? That leads you into a substantiated billing report. And if you're starting to use images and capture those in Acumatica, now have that substantiated billing report. Here's the costs that are being charged for. Maybe there's markup on those. And now here's the actual invoices that you're receiving. So here Jenga might be getting invoices in from their different subcontractors. That image is there, being able to see that not only in the project, but now from a document management and billing perspective, use that as the backup for the billing. Again, as you're coming in, very simple progress, T&M, cost plus, whatever you might be doing from an invoicing perspective, and bringing all that view together. But if you think of construction, now what else is very important? Change management and being able to track a change order or that initial request. What's coming in? How does that start to identify what things are going on? Hey, is there an issue that needs to be looked at? As you're looking at those different components, now we're taking our way through the project lifecycle, executing on it, managing those changes, tracking how we're doing against their performance, and really being able to start to come into it. One thing you'll notice in Acumatica as well, over here on the different side panels that we call them, so I can have split screens. And in this case, it's bringing the customer information up tied to this particular project. So if I want to get in and start to look at the customer, or if there's any particular issues that I want to identify, I have the ability to now bring that into a side panel and pull that detail in and make entries as they're going through and identifying it. Again, a little split screen gives you an entry capability, looking at what you have highlighted on the left right into the window, and you can certainly make things larger and contract those together. But what we want to do is really what we hear again constantly. We want to have a simple system. User interface should be nice and clean. And we can go in here, we can hide columns and move things around. And then also what kinds of reports are capability. And now what do I want to do with the data? And you'll see some more options with that as we go through the day from the presentations. And I just wanted to give you a quick view of Acumatica and the overall capabilities. And as we're looking at things, let me get back into the view itself. Think of Acumatica from a construction perspective and what happens. Why are people coming to Acumatica and the partners when they're dealing with construction? Well, it's construction specific. Everybody's focused on the construction industry. reporting, billing capabilities. You'll see things from labor capturing and time capture and human resource or human capital management as we go through the day to day. Again, I didn't show it, but you have compliance, and you want to come in and there's compliance and safety actions that are going through. Like, how do you start to pull those together? Think of that life cycle picture, and now how you're tracking your profits, your cash flow. And then again, if you're an organization that might have multiple disciplines, know that Acumatica can handle that. So with that, I appreciate the time, Amy, that you've given me today, and we're ready to move on to the next.
Thank you so much, Joel. Lots of great insights there.